Welcome back, everybody, to the Baltimore Orioles franchise here on MLB The Show 21 for the PlayStation 5. Today's episode is a very exciting one as we have reached the end of July here in the 2022 season, and that means it is time for the MLB trade deadline. Our Orioles have been hovering around 500 pretty much all year, and I have not been sure whether we should buy or sell at this year's deadline. However, after the All-Star break, we have gone on a 2-8 run to push us down to 47-54, and we have fallen quite a bit in the wild card race. We've never really stood a chance of a division with the Red Sox being extraordinarily good, but we're now 7 games back at the second wild card, which is noticeably lower than we were, say, 2 weeks ago before the All-Star break. So that's pretty much narrowed down the decision that we should probably look to sell. We do have a loaded farm system as is. We have a ton of good young players in this organization, but we also do have some veterans as well who we will want to look to ship off now that we know that a playoff run doesn't look feasible here this season. As we sort by our older players, we do have quite a few veterans who we could look to trade, including guys like Starling Marte and Andrelton Simmons. They were both signed to short-term contracts in the offseason, and I sort of knew if we were not a great baseball team, we would probably look to trade both of these players. I wanted to add some veteran leadership, I wanted to add a winning mentality, and I do think it rubbed off on our young players, but I think it makes sense for the future of this team to possibly move on from these two. Trey Mancini is also a very interesting case, being that he's 30 years old and on the last year of his contract, going to be a free agent this winter. Mancini's story is quite an interesting one. We know that he had a great start to his major league career, was diagnosed with colon cancer before the 2020 season. Not only has he come back, but he's been even better. Was an all-star in 2021, played all 162 games, and this year he's been extraordinary as well. However, he does not fit with our timeline of winning a World Series, and maybe you want to give him that opportunity to possibly win a ring somewhere else, because I don't think he's going to be doing that here. Looking at the trade block, there are quite a few established players and quite a few young prospects as well. We don't have to go after the guys specifically on the trade block, but there are some really tempting names here. I do want to look at the teams in the standings who could be buyers. Boston and New York are very good in our division. The AL Central is loaded with 4 teams within 5 games of each other. The Athletics and Angels are both very good teams. They'll be buyers. In the National League, the Mets and Braves are in a close race in the East. They'll both be wanting pieces to help their playoff push. Cardinals and Brewers are good teams. The Dodgers are loaded. The San Diego Padres are probably going to want to be buyers, so they can possibly match up with the Dodgers in an NLDS, possibly. So there are a lot of teams who are going to be looking for good players. Let's start with a Starling Marte trade, shall we? Marte has been a little bit disappointing this year. We signed him to a 2-year deal with a player and club option for next season. I don't plan on bringing him back for $11 million. I don't know if he wants to come back. So I wanted to find a team who makes sense, and I look at the Cleveland Indians. Outside of Franmil Reyes, their outfield has not been great this year. They do have talented players like Oscar Mercado and Eddie Rosario, but I think they'd like to add a veteran piece to that group. A prospect on this team who sticks out to me is 18-year-old first baseman Carmen Sixto out of Venezuela. I really wanted to draft Sixto last year in the second round, but he was unfortunately off the board. The Indians used him with their first-round pick. They have good first basemen already with Josh Naylor and Bobby Bradley, and as you look at our first base situation, yes, we have Ryan Mountcastle, who's great, but we don't have a ton of talent in the farm system. Although Chad Spangenberger's had a good year, Sixto would be a great piece to the organization. So they won't do Marte for Sixto straight up, but it is very close. I thought about possibly doing this, adding Adam Hall and Yusniel Diaz, and getting Ahmed Rosario, who's an 83 overall. He was on the trade block. I really thought about that, but I decided not to, but I will say I was very tempted. So we're going to do this instead. Starling Marte along with Isaac Matson and Tyler Nevin, 2 fairly mediocre prospects. Neither of them are all that special. Going to the Indians for Carmen Sixto. Of course, he is the big piece of this deal, along with 19-year-old starting pitching prospect Eloy Zambrano, who's a 68 overall with C potential. His upside is not outstanding, but he could be a possible long reliever for the future. I think he's better than both Matson and Nevin, and that's a deal I'm going to take, and I really like that trade for us. So welcome to the team, Carmen Sixto and Eloy Zambrano. Let's talk about Andrelton Simmons now, who, unlike Marte, has exceeded my expectations offensively this year, and defensively, Simmons is one of the best shortstops of our generation. The team Simmons played for last year, the Minnesota Twins, are currently in a playoff push, and they need a shortstop bad. Royce Lewis and Keone Cavaco are not ready yet, and Nick Gordon's been pretty rough. There were a few prospects on this team who tempted me, like Alex Kirilloff, but I don't think the Twins would be willing to make that trade, so we're going to do this instead. Andrelton Simmons, along with starting pitching prospect Daniel Carmenera, are going to the Twins for 3 solid prospects. 19-year-old starting pitcher Roberto Gonzalez, who is a lefty, 61 overall from Panama, and the 2 main pieces will be Jorge Alcala and Aaron Whitfield. Alcala is 26 years old. He's only a 65 overall, but I do really like him. He's very well-rounded. He throws hard. He has a good break to his pitches. In limited MLB action in 2019 and 2020, he's been quite good with a career ERA of 2.45 and over 25 innings of work. Currently this year in AAA, he's been solid too, and I think he's going to be a really interesting piece for us. There's also outfielder Aaron Whitfield, hailing from Australia. 24 years old, 70 overall. We are loaded in the outfield in our farm system, but it doesn't hurt to add more guys. So we're going to make that trade. No game-breaking prospects in that deal, but 3 guys whose potential I do like. We're going to make a smaller trade now, as we're going to be sending Jorge Lopez and Corey Ray to the Mets. 2 pretty solid players who were both on the Major League roster last year, and I just don't really see a future for these 2. They've been in AAA this year. They're not bad, but I think there's a player on the Mets who really interests me, being Hideki Asuncion, a 22-year-old relief pitcher from Japan. He has 4 pitches. Again, he is well-rounded as well, does not allow the long ball. We're going to take that trade. I think we're getting a really good piece in Asuncion, who could be Major League ready in a year or 2. So now let's talk about Trey Mancini. I know he's been a fan favorite for his story, and, I mean, he's been a great Oriole for a long time. As I said, he stands for everything we want in a Baltimore Oriole. However, I want to give him an opportunity to win a World Series, and I don't view him as a piece of our long-term plans because he wants $10 million a year. The San Diego Padres are a team who is currently in the mix for a playoff spot. They could use an additional first baseman, and they have a lot of guys in the farm system. I really thought about trying to get Mackenzie Gore or CJ Abrams, but I think both of them are just a little bit too good for a guy of Trey Mancini's talent. I don't think Mancini really stacks up value-wise with those guys, but I'm going to do this. Trey Mancini and Jorge Bonifacio to the Padres for 23-year-old starting pitching prospect Adrian Morejon. We have so many good hitters in our farm system. I wanted to focus on pitching, and I think Morejon is really good. He's a 70 overall, good Ks per 9, good walks per 9, throws hard, has good break. He has 4 pitches, a fastball, a splitter, a curveball, and a slider. He has major league experience, although his career ERA is in the 6s. He's still very young. He's been pretty good in AAA, and I think him, along with guys like Max Meyer, Matthew Thompson, and Grayson Rodriguez, can really headline our long-term rotation. So we're going to make that trade. It does sting a little bit to trade Trey Mancini, but I think it's absolutely worth it. I think Morejon is a really good prospect, and Trey Mancini now gets to be a key piece on a World Series contender. So those are the 4 trades we're going to make, dealing away some veterans in Marte, Simmons, and Mancini, but we're getting some really good prospects back. Morejon, Asuncion, Whitfield, Alcala, and Sixto headline our return, and we got some other talented players as well as we continue to strengthen what is already a loaded farm system. We have to replace for roster spots of the 3 players we just gave up, so we're going to call up some of our elite prospects, including Marco Luciano. Luciano was with the big leagues for a little bit this year. He struggled. We sent him back down to AAA, and ever since he was sent down, he has been absolutely raking. I think this will give him his confidence back, and he's going to be with the big leagues permanently. I'm not going to call him down again. I think he's officially earned it. We're going to call up 2 more top prospects who have not played a major league game yet, including Christian Robinson, who's having a nice year in AAA, hitting .274, 6 home runs, 20 RBIs, and he is obviously a phenomenal defender. I mean, he flies to the ball, great speed, great glove, great arm. His contact and power is improving as well, and as a 72 overall, I think he's ready to make a major league impact. I thought about calling up Heliot Ramos instead because his bat is a little bit better, but Ramos has struggled in AAA this year. We're also going to call up Heston Kjerstad, who started the year in AA, was doing really well. We called him up to AAA, and he has been hitting the ball well since. He's only hitting .240, but he's hit for good power. His OPS is nearly 800, and I think he's ready for the big leagues as well. So Marco Luciano is back, and we're going to call up Robinson and Kjerstad to make their major league debuts. We made a lot of corresponding roster moves after that throughout the minor leagues. I'm not going to detail all of them because you guys don't really want to hear me explain those, but just know our minor leagues have really been totally shuffled. So Luciano, Kjerstad, and Robinson will all be everyday players for the time being. If we're going to call them up, there's no reason for them not to play every day, and they will remain in the lineup as long as they're playing well. The pitching rotation and bullpen did not change at all because none of these guys are old and pieces I really wanted to give up. I thought about trading Eduardo Rodriguez. He is still only 28, and I do see a world in which we are a contending team and he's on it. I actually did get offered a trade for Rodriguez last second from the Tampa Bay Rays. I didn't really want to trade him in division. It was an interesting trade. We could get a potential reliever, Holkiyama Yakushi, but I decided not to do that. So I decided to simcast this game against the Red Sox because it would have been Kjerstad and Robinson's debut, but we just played the Red Sox last episode, and I wanted to make sure I played those guys' debuts. So I made sure those two were not in the lineup, and we ended up losing it. So that's fun. So that'll bring us to this 4-game series against Tampa Bay. We're going to play Game 1 because it will be the Major League debut of both Christian Robinson and Heston Kjerstad. We get a new look at some of the future pieces of this organization as they show Robinson going out to center. I don't know why they picked to show him over Heston Kjerstad, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Kjerstad will be in right for today's game, so although it does sting to trade away some of our veteran players, at least we get to see some of the young guys in the organization get to make their big league debuts. Here's a look at both lineups. Kjerstad will be hitting 6th, Robinson will be hitting 8th today. On the mound for the Orioles will be Eliezer Hernandez, who of course was acquired in a trade with the Marlins a couple months ago. Hernandez has been fine with the Orioles this season, 3.51 ERA in exactly 100 innings, 1.38 whip, 7-5 record in 19 starts. We'll see how he can do today as this is Austin Meadows on a 1-2 pitch. Beats the shift perfectly, and that one looks like it's going to drop for extra bases. A 2-out double for Austin Meadows, and that'll put a runner in scoring position for Tampa Bay, and a nice opportunity for the cleanup hitter, Randy Arozarena, to drive in a run. However, he goes down chasing the two-seam fastball way inside. A great pitch by Hernandez to get out of the inning. Rays are unable to drive anyone home as we go to the bottom of the first. The flame-throwing 6'8", is that how tall he is? Tyler Glasnow will be on the mound for the Rays, 3.72 ERA and 109 innings of work. As we go to the bottom of the second here, it's Santiago Rivera who strikes out. Good start for Glasnow as that will bring up Marco Luciano in his second stint with the Bigs. And Luciano crushes this one deep into left field, no doubt about it. A nuke for Marco Luciano, 436 feet, his second home run in the majors. And I think it's fair to say Marco Luciano is officially Major League ready. Maybe he was called up a couple months too early, but I think that stint in AAA after he got sent back down really did him well. Even though it did use a minor league option, I think he's officially ready to be a everyday big leaguer. Following batter is Heston Kjerstad in his first major league at bat. Pretty uneventful one as he will fly out to center, caught pretty easily by Arozarena. Let's go to the top of the third. 1-0 your score as Yandy Diaz hits this one into center. And that's why Christian Robinson is so good. Some outfielders don't have the athleticism and the defensive ability to track that ball. But Christian Robinson, he's going to be a gold glove talent, I think, in center field. Inning comes to a close as Wander Franco will go down swinging on the high fastball. 3 shutout innings of work for Eliezer Hernandez. As we go to the bottom of the third, Christian Robinson, his first major league at bat. Like Heston Kjerstad, it's a weak fly out into the outfield as that one will be caught in right. So a pretty uneventful start for both Kjerstad and Robinson as we go to the fourth, and the Rays are going to tie it up. A solo home run for Randy Arozarena, and this one is now knotted up at 1. Arozarena with his 20th of the year, 443 feet. That one went even farther than Luciano's bomb earlier in the game. So a big hit for Arozarena, who's developed into one of the best young power hitters in the majors. and Tampa Bay will tie it up. On to the bottom half of the inning. This is a good start for the Orioles. Their first two batters reach base. Ryan Mountcastle with a single there. So that'll bring up Santiago Rivera with 2 on and no outs, and he gets plunked by the fastball, taking one for the team. So the bases are now loaded. Still nobody out. A major opportunity for the middle of this lineup. A lot of the young guys are due up as Marco Luciano strikes out. Big one for Glasnow, and a double play could end this inning, and the Orioles might not score anybody. That'll bring up Heston Kjerstad, who gets a bases-loaded opportunity in his debut. He goes down looking. That's a stinger right there, and now Baltimore's going to need a base hit to drive in a run. So that'll bring up Anthony Santander. Count is full, 2 outs, bases loaded, and he mashes this deep into right field. You can forget about it. Grand slam for Anthony Santander. And the Orioles will take a 5-1 lead. Although Santander has been quite disappointing this year, he's barely hitting above 220 at the moment. That is a gigantic home run, his 10th of the year. I think that's the first time in this series in a game that I've played that we've hit a grand slam, which is pretty cool. So a gigantic play for Santander, and the Orioles are now all of a sudden up by 4. Inning does come to a close as Christian Robinson will strike out. So both Kjerstad and Robinson do get K'd in this inning, but the Orioles can't be feeling too bad as they score 4 runs thanks to this salami by Santander. Into the bottom of the 5th inning, the Rays will make a pitching change. Cody Reed would enter the game for Glasnow. Glasnow started this game off really well, but that 4th inning was just a complete mess. 1 on, nobody out here for Jalen Miller, who singles into right field. So again, the Orioles start the inning with 2 runners on, just like last inning. That will bring up Adley Rutschman, the first-time All-Star, on the 2-1 pitch. He's going to hit this one into center. It's going to drop for a hit. The runner is going to head home safely. Jalen Miller is actually tagged out at second. He thought about going to third, went back to second too late. But a run does score, and Adley Rutschman is safe at first. So it is now 6-1. Baltimore extends their lead. The inning would not last too much longer as Ryan Mountcastle will ground into a 5-4-3 double play. But the Orioles, with 5 runs in the past 2 innings, they have a comfortable 6-1 lead. Someone who we've not talked about a ton today is Eliezer Hernandez as he gets Randy Arozarena to fly out to center. 6 dominant innings of work from Hernandez, only allowing 1 run as this would be the final out he throws. A great performance for Hernandez, one of his best as an Oriole, as we take it to the bottom of the 6th. 2 away for Heston Kjerstad, and he rips that one down the first base line. It's going to drop for a hit. Kjerstad rounding first on his horse. The throw to second is not in time. A 2-out double for Heston Kjerstad, the first major league hit of his career. That baseball is going to be saved in the dugout, a souvenir that he will be able to hold on to and cherish as Heston Kjerstad in his debut gets his first of hopefully many major league hits. Will he get his first run? The answer looks like it'll be no, as Santander grounds out to first. But still, it's good to see Heston Kjerstad getting his first major league hit, and the Orioles continue to play good baseball as they lead 6-1. On to the top of the 7th. Felix Rosa will enter. He was recently called up, I believe, last episode, and he's been really good. 7 games, 10 innings of work. He's only allowed 2 runs. He's only thrown 3 strikeouts. I guess you can make it 4 now as he gets Gurriel down swinging. Rosa is a strikeout pitcher, so I'm surprised that he's barely thrown any, but he hasn't been allowing runs, and he's doing fairly well. Christian Robinson nearly got his first major league hit there, but the third baseman was able to make the play. That'll probably be Robinson's last at-bat. If it is, it's a little bit unfortunate that he's not going to get a hit today, but he did have some good plays on defense. And the Rays would end this inning strong as they will turn a 3-6-3 double play, and we will transition into the 8th inning as the Orioles currently own a 5-run lead. Let's take this one to the bottom half of the inning. 1 on, nobody out for Ryan Mountcastle. He hits this one pretty nice into right field for a hit. Cody Reed is still in the game, by the way. He's been in since like the 5th inning. The Orioles appear to be doing some damage off of him. That'll bring up Heston Kjerstad now. Gets that one to go for a hit into left. The left fielder completely botches that one. Mountcastle has no idea what he's doing on the base pass. as that'll be an RBI double for Heston Kjerstad. So he will start his Major League career with a pair of doubles and an RBI. Quite the debut for Kjerstad. Santander then rips that one high and deep into left. That one has a chance, but it is caught. Santander nearly had 7 RBIs in this game if that one would have gone over the fence. But Gurriel was able to track it down as we go to the top of the 9th. Baltimore just trying to get a smooth ending to this one as Wander Suero will enter. And the Rays are going to try to do some late damage. A 2-run homer by Randy Arozarena, his second of the game, 21st of the year. So although Arozarena's played well today, really nobody else on this Tampa Bay offense has. So after that at bat, the Orioles actually decided to take Suero out and put Sir Anthony Dominguez in. They hope that Dominguez will be able to get out of this one cleanly, and it looks like he will, as Brandon Lau will fly out. The play is made by Luciano, and a strong 7-3 win here for the Baltimore Orioles. Christian Robinson and Heston Kjerstad get wins in their first Major League games. Although Robinson was quiet offensively, Heston Kjerstad was great, 2 for 4 with a pair of doubles and an RBI. The pitching for us was great, too. Outside of Randy Arozarena, nobody on Tampa Bay's offense really did a whole lot. And, of course, that grand slam of the 4th inning by Anthony Santander was quite a big one. So, all in all, a really strong win for us as we will start to go through this season a little bit faster. Now that I know that we're probably not going to make the playoffs, we will go a little bit quicker. We're going to simulate these next 2 weeks. And it seems like the tank might be in full effect, as in that 2-week stretch, we did not do terribly, but we did not do great either. We went 4-8. Christian Robinson has not done all that well, but Heston Kjerstad has. Kjerstad has 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. He's hitting .318 with an OPS a little bit under 900. I know this is a very small sample size, but I'm impressed with how Kjerstad's played. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.